CHEM200L, this is it. Experiment 7 is finally here. A couple of things I want to update you on. You still have a post lab out there for experiment 6. Please see me during office hours. So this is your chance. Last minute questions leading up to experiment 7. Come see me during Zoom. Please note the experiment 7 pre-lab is due on the scheduled date. That's May 6th, so before you do the experiment. We scheduled the data and observations after that because if this was on campus, you'd have 2 days to do the experiment. So you'd have 2 days to record data and observations. It'd be due at the end of the second day. So I'm just doing the same here. It's due May 11th. If in the midst of this you decide to withdraw from the course, you have to do that by May 8th. I want to reiterate experiment 7 policies that I went over on the last activity. That is very little assistance from me. This is all about you addressing a complex experiment. You will be graded on accuracy and precision. Okay, so the lab work is good, what's been given to you, but you have to perform the calculations and it should represent good accuracy and good precision. There is a quiz 4 for experiment 7, so make sure to complete quiz 4. And the goal, what you're doing is determining the determination of the unknown concentration. How's that done? It's done with 1, the SpectraVis Plus. You use that to estimate, and then you do multiple titrations with EDTA. So these slides are slides that we prepare for all CHEM200L classes. So the consistent messages throughout. So this is what you want to refer to for experiment 7 questions. You can see there's 2 days to do experiment 7, and again, remember this is worth 100 points in the class. Okay, so let's get to it then. This is, like I said, experiment 7, and here's the general slides for everyone. You can see these are the guidelines. This is what we're going over. Of course, this applies to the lab, actually doing this on campus, so I've modified this slightly to what we're going to do. So there's introduction. This is going to be a great resource of information for you. So I have lots of sources that you can go to because questions are going to come up. And now this is a place for you to see where you can get those questions answered. Instructions for calculations, day 1, day 2, and then how to finally report your answer. So the introduction. 3 things that are being evaluated. Well, the first was the ability to complete a complex experiment. And I've crossed this out because unfortunately you won't be doing this on campus, so I won't be able to evaluate can you actually do this or not. However, you will take videos, you'll take the data, and you can do the calculations and determine the accuracy and precision. And then, of course, we've been focusing on writing properly formatted lab reports. You'll do that as well for experiment 7. Much more complicated experiment than all the others that you've done, so a lot will go into that. This is meant to represent 201L, so many of you are thinking about next semester now and where do you go, what do you do next? So CHEM201L experiments are complex. You work individually, so a lot going on here. So this is kind of meant to simulate the policies I mentioned in activity 13. You would just be working with your partner, you and your partner. You and your partner may be able to communicate while you're social distancing, maybe you won't. So you might be on your own right now, so that would mimic even more CHEM201L, but you won't be doing the experiment. So this also means minimal assistance from me. I will refer to you to those resources. These are places you can go for answers, not to me. You can do this. You've got the skills you've developed over this semester to apply to this experiment. All right, so where are those references? The references are things that you're going to come up with, okay, that you access and you answer the questions. Where can you go? Well, experiment 7 background, that has a lot of the information. Experiment 3, that was the nanoparticles, the first time you saw the SpectraVis. Experiment 6, the titrations. Activity 7, making solutions. Activity 13, spectrophotometry. And then your textbook also, chapter 8, chapter 22, These are all places to go to work on the pre-lab, work on your calculations. All of this is helpful. All right, calculations. Day 1. Calculate the molarities of the 5 standard cobalt solutions made in steps 14 to 16. So you'll be provided with 5 standard solutions. They were made by independent concentration, so you need to determine the molarities of those 5. Then you use the molarities and absorbances, remember lambda max, to generate a calibration curve or a Beer-Lambert plot. So this plot is then used to estimate the concentration of your unknown cobalt solution. Okay, so this is calculations, concentrations, absorbance, calibration plot or Beer-Lambert plot, and then you have an estimate of your unknown solution. So this day 2 calculations is modified a little bit because you're not in the lab, you're not estimating the EDTA titration equation. Okay, you're not estimating the volume of EDTA from there to get 15 to 20 mils. The data has been done for this, so the data should show EDTA between 15 and 20 mils. Then you have each titration, and now you calculate the molarity of your unknown cobalt solution. So the EDTA cobalt titration gives you unknown for the 3 trials provided, and do those separately. So trial 1, what's the unknown molarity? Trial 2, and so on. Don't use the average as it says here. So finally, what you're going to do is calculate the averages from your titration, calculate the standard deviation, it's telling us about the precision, and report the average and cobalt molarity appropriately. So here's the standard deviation. So if it's 0.023 was your unknown molarity, the standard deviation goes to 3 decimal places and it's 1 sig fig, 0.023 plus or minus 0.005. So this is preparing you for experiment 7. Again, you can see me during office hours before this experiment starts. Once experiment 7 starts, then you're on your own. So make sure contact me before we get going on experiment 7. I wish you well. Good luck to you.